You do? Can you tell me why?
Why? Because we want to make America great again.
Yeah,
no. Well, we're still working on it, but yes. Yeah. We love Trump.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying that they, online, that people regret their vote. Do you regret your vote?
I don't regret my vote. He's fabulous, and I love what he's doing to the White House. Rebuilding, people are complaining, and presidents wanted to rebuild it for 50 years. He's doing a great job.
Amazing. The president is doing a great job. Let's jump into the next video.
Father's Day article written by a woman who
Can you tell me why?
identifies as a man.
Oops.
The essay presented in Father's Day article written by a woman who identifies as a man. The essay presented in comic strip form is titled, "To My Daughter, My Gender Was Never Complicated." Some quotes from the piece include one child telling another, "You can't grow a beard, you're a girl." To which the other child responds, "My dad did, and he was a girl." Another quote reads, "But when my wife and I had Elliot, I had to learn how to be a trans dad." And one panel shows a young woman asking her dad, quote, "How long did you have your breasts for?"
What?
Also included in this exchange, one person saying, "I don't actually tell everyone I'm trans. I save that for special people." Critics are going after that essay. Katie Miller posted this. "This is how they envision corrupting our children." Others have written this. The New York Times celebrated Father's Day by saluting the real heroes, left-wing gender goblins who think mentally ill women mutilating themselves, mainlining hormone injections, and playing daddy dress-up are the true embodiment of fatherhood. All of that a quote. And the New York Times reminds us all that they hate actual fathers on Father's Day.
They do.
Well, this follows a trend of what some are calling anti-dad articles in the New York Times. And former Times reporter Alex Berenson.
You know what? Happy post-Father's Day. Look, okay, so I'm not going to begin my rant because this right here ground my gears, okay? But let's jump on to the next video. Now, we have gardening. We have Intergalactic Wrangler in the chat. Guys, we're going to be reading the chat and we're going to be Look, I promised. Okay. Whoa. Tony just gifted memberships. Amazing. Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you so much, Tony. All right, so we're going to be jumping. Yeah, happy post. Look, guys, we have the bastardization of Western civilization, where you have people who want to live an alternative lifestyle. I don't want to be insulting, but they want to live an alternative lifestyle. And then they want us to give them a whole month to put their alternative lifestyle on display and force it in our faces, okay? And then they give fathers one day. Then they decide that even though they get to keep a whole month and dads get 1 day out of the year, they want to do this on that day, all right? They won't even let dads get their 1 day, all right? They get a full month, dads get 1 day, moms get 1 day, but they won't let us be. All right. So thank you, Tony, so much. Thank you. Now, today, the title of the live stream, okay, part of it inspired by gardening, okay? Al Gay Gates. We're going to be talking about the situation at the reflecting pool. We're also going to be looking at Zoran Mamdani's cringe statements that he made recently, and we're going to be talking about Keir Starmer's resignation. All right, it seems like people who essentially oppose Trump tend to be dropping like flies these days. Okay, politically, okay, YouTube, politically. So we're going to be talking about all that. So let's jump to the next video, guys. Yeah, so Algae Gate. Here are the weirdos, okay? Brace yourselves. Pro-algae protest is taking place by the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool in D.C. You can't make this up.
Algae, let's go! 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 Let's go! Algae, let's go! Algae, let's go! Algae, let's go!
my goodness.
Let's go, algae. God sent the algae. Don't play God. Don't play God. God sent the algae.
What?
God sent the algae. God sent the algae. Let's go.
All right, guys. All right, the cringe. Okay, guys, so let me know what you think of this brave expression, okay? They are being so brave, okay? They are being so brave. All right, so they are resisting Trump. They're telling Trump that God sent the algae and that Trump shouldn't play God. Guys, just let me know what you think in the chat, because look, I'm going to try to be charitable. I'm going to try to be charitable. I'm going to do my best to be charitable. Okay. Now, here's more from the pro algae protest. We're opening up the live stream with algae gate. Okay. I pronounce it algae. Hang on, where's my title? Oh, there it is. Okay. I pronounce it algae. All right. I know that some of you pronounce it algae. Okay. But it's algae. Okay. It's my show, so it's algae. So let's watch this insanity.
$1.1 million for y'all to watch porn scam. Our money's really being fucking spent well for y'all to
So
watch
these
porn
weirdos think that
scam.
they're making a change. Okay.
Let's go, algae. Let's go. So the National Guard could come and watch porn scam. $1.1 million a day so the National Guard could come and watch porn scam. Y'all trying to find something to arrest me for, aren't y'all? Right? You're going to try to find something to arrest me for.
Oh my goodness.
$1.1 million for y'all to watch.
These guys are just cringe. Okay. Now, let's remember what we watched last week. Okay. Remember,
I think
CNN essentially just discovered that algae has never been defeated. So they feel like, this is unique to Donald Trump.
that the $14 million plus price tag that is associated with this cleanup project was ridiculous.
Did you oppose President Obama spending $34 million on the Lincoln Memorial and the reflecting pool?
I know that when President Obama invested, he did it with science in mind. So there was not an algae takeover.
The Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool reopened at the end of August to great fanfare after a $34 million renovation that lasted nearly 2 years. But less than a month later, the famous pool of water is full of algae.
For the record, you believe.
So while she's busy spewing the ignorance, okay, and the cringe nonsense that they continue to put out on TDSBC and CNN, there's video evidence of how CNN, the same network that we're watching right now, covered the 2-year, $34 million project that Obama conducted. And yet, after 2 years, algae suddenly, it's algae. Algae suddenly sprouted out of nowhere, okay? And all of a sudden, it's Trump's fault if algae begins to emerge after he repaired the reflecting pool, and then weirdos show up in the dead of night to throw fertilizer and other things to spawn fresh algae.
That algae didn't exist when Barack Obama was the president. Is that right?
Oh, are you serious? No, come on. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I'm going to get the video back in a bit. Just give me a second. I need to get the video back. One moment. Not sure why. Oh, is that why? Now, that was weird. Not sure why that skipped. Okay. So I'm going to play the video again, okay? Just for you guys. And I'm going to shut up.
I think that the $14 million
go
plus price tag that is associated with this cleanup project was ridiculous.
Did you oppose President Obama.
Ouch. Sorry.
$1 million plus price tag that is associated with this cleanup project was ridiculous.
Did you oppose President Obama spending $34 million on the Lincoln Memorial and the reflecting pool?
I know that when President Obama invested, he did it with science in mind. So there was not an LG takeover.
The Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool reopened at the end of August to great fanfare after a $34 million renovation that lasted nearly 2 years. But less than a month later, the famous pool of water is full of algae.
For the record, you believe that algae didn't exist when Barack Obama was the president. Is that right?
I believe that once he invested in the beautification of that specific part, what we did not see was a takeover.
Famous pool of water is full of algae. Algae are simple organisms that thrive in areas where there is heat and sunlight.
Because we just didn't see it, it didn't happen.
Just for the record, for 1.6 billion years, algae has existed in stagnant pools on planet Earth, but not during the Obama administration.
What I'm saying is that it was treated, which is what Donald Trump could have done.
If it's sunny, if it's really warm, it will rise to the top. So on some days, depending on the weather, you will see algae at the top.
I learned something tonight. I didn't realize that President Obama had cured algae when for 1.6 billion years, algae had been undefeated. So I've learned something.
Scott,
You know, guys, this is why the left has lost me and you. They tell these blatant lies and they assume that you and I are sheep, that we're stupid, and that we can't do our own research and find these things to be lies. Now, keep the chat coming. We're gonna wrap up this journey through Algaegate. I'm trying to make sure that while we're going through this, that we cover the story arc. Okay, President Trump is on a quest to beautify Washington, D.C. And the reflecting pool is one of these projects. And he succeeds at doing so. But because these people are so broken-brained, here's what these leftists had to say after President Trump the first pass. Okay, the first pass. The pool was clear, it was reflecting, it was awesome, but here's what they had to say.
I would have preferred to keep it like it was.
It's an incredibly stupid idea. I'm delighted that it's still reflecting.
I think it's horrible. The color I've seen on the news is disgusting to me, as opposed to how beautiful it was in the past.
I would have preferred to keep it like it was.
It's an incredibly stupid idea.
You see, leftism, I'm going to bring up a chat, okay? I have JM21999, first time chatter. Welcome. And he says, these people are sick and in truth, I believe, are filled with demonic energy and spirits. And you know what? I agree. Because for you to look at the picture on the right side of this video and say to yourself, the algae-ridden, murky, stinky pool was better, okay? You must have a huge problem. And the problem is not just mental, it must be spiritual. So thank you so much, JM, for the first time chat. And thank you for hanging out with us. We do this every day, Sundays to Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern. So please consider joining us when we're live again tomorrow. And if you haven't yet done so, please give us a sub, like the video, share the video. Thank you so much for the chat. And you know what? If you're lurking, please jump in the chat, join the community. Okay, let's have a conversation and, let's point and laugh at these weirdos, because for the life of me, I can't understand how anyone can live their lives thinking this way. In their heads, Anything that Trump is for, I have to be against. Trump could cure cancer, and they would literally have people protesting on behalf of cancer. Like, we literally just watch these weirdos saying, "Let's go algae." You would have a pro-cancer protest. I guarantee you. All right, now, in 2012, because we're going back in history now, okay? We're going back in history. In 2012, okay, CNN did a segment on the complete failure of Obama's 2-year, $34 million reflecting pool renovation. This was less than a month after the reflecting pool reopened. Now, no one was ripping up the lining of the floor of the pool. No one was vandalizing it. No one was throwing fertilizer into the pool to make sure that they frustrated Obama's project. No one was doing that. And Obama took 2 years. Trump has run this project only for, I think, several months, and it's almost finished, and he's having to contend with vandals going in there and ripping up federal property to stick it to Trump and to MAGA. That's what we're dealing with. So here's the report from 2012.
There's plenty to take pictures of in downtown Washington, D.C. The Lincoln Memorial, the World War II Memorial, and then there's this. Folks snapping photos of the reflecting pool.
It's really sludgy up this end.
And what's in it?
It's disgusting. It's not right.
Algae.
It smells like wet dog down here, When my dog came home from the stream, he always smelled like this, so it's gross.
The Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool reopened at the end of August to great fanfare after a $34 million renovation that lasted nearly 2 years. But less than a month later, the famous pool of water is full of algae. Algae are simple organisms that thrive in areas where there is heat and sun.
Do you notice how CNN used to report the news in 2012? Okay. Now, don't get me wrong, mainstream media were always favorable to Democrats. So there's always an excuse for why this project fails. And this is when they decided that they were actually going to quote the science. They were going to talk about how algae spawns.
Sunlight. You have plenty of that here.
The water may not look great, but it doesn't pose a health or safety hazard. It's really just the yuck factor.
If it's sunny, if it's really warm, it will rise to the top. So on some days, depending on the weather, you will see algae at the top, and they looks like small islands of algae.
But why has algae suddenly become a problem? The reflecting pool was renovated to fix cracks and leaks, but it also included installing a system to draw water from the nearby tidal basin into the pool instead of using city drinking water. Algae naturally grows in the tidal basin. Plus, the renovated pool holds less water.
Now, remember what that lady on CNN said, that Obama did it scientifically. Yeah, Obama drew water from an algae-infested rich source into the pool instead of sourcing it from an already filtered source. That's the science that they... Look, these guys cannot be trusted. They lie. I'm sorry. They lie. Okay, so this report is telling us exactly how Obama ran his project and why it failed.
That shallow depth is a perfect condition for algae to grow. A bit of an embarrassment for the Park Service.
It's really a shame that they had...
Oh, it's an embarrassment for the Park Service, not for Obama. Are you hearing the framing here? This was Obama's project. They introduced it as Obama started this project. It took 2 years, yada, yada, yada. But when it failed, it's the Park Service's fault. The fact that the reflecting pool is still spawning algae isn't the Park Service's fault this time around. No, it's Trump's fault. It's spawning algae because God hates Trump, I guess. That's what they're trying to say. The people who don't believe in God. The people who don't believe in God, who believe that that they can play God and convert boys to girls. they are the ones who now, want to say that God is fighting Trump with algae. Not nice.
Planned out was a little bit better so you wouldn't have algae growing after all this time and money.
The reflecting pool is not reflecting.
It's nasty.
Much of anything. Lisa Sylvester.
That was 2012 under the Obama administration. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get tired of showing you guys these weirdos. Here they are. Look, let's see. Okay, well, we've watched this already, okay? They are I'm going to mute this, okay? These guys, here's the green pool. Sorry, it's not green. I'm sorry. It wasn't a Freudian slip for those of you who want to claim it's one. It's a blue pool. Clear, clean, it doesn't smell. These guys love filth. They love filth. They want things to break. They will not be satisfied until the world burns. I'm sorry, but that seems to be what they're gunning for. They want the world to burn. Now, while all of this was going on, guys, the vandals decided that they were going to look. All this is not an accident, okay? Just in exclusive, United States Park Police are investigating an 8647 inscription on the sealant of the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. We discovered writing just now while walking the edge of the pool. This BS needs to end. This comes as mobile surveillance towers have been deployed around the pool. Obama didn't have to spend any money on protecting the pool. Now, the Trump administration has to spend on securing the pool by hiring extra security for the project. Excuse me. And I guess that he's going to keep paying for that security until he leaves office, because at every turn, these vandals are going to continue to do crazy stuff like this. And in case you didn't know, 8647 means take out the 47th president. All right, so if you can see it clearly, you can see, sorry, I'm going to just hold the camera. So you can see the text there, 8647. Okay. Multiple people, including a former U.S. Olympian. Guys, I'm taking you through the timeline, okay? Because we said yesterday that we're going to do, essentially, we're going to explore the algae gate. Sorry, guys, but it's my show. Algae gate. Multiple people, including a former U.S. Olympian, have now been arrested for vandalizing the newly renovated Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool.
Okay, multiple people, including a former U.S. Olympian, have now been arrested for allegedly vandalizing the newly renovated reflecting pool in the nation's capital.
Kevin Cork joins us now from the White House with all the latest on this. Kevin, good morning.
Yeah, frankly, this is, and good morning to all of you. This is a sad story because all Americans, I don't care about your political stripes, enjoy the reflecting pool. But as Charlie points out, we're talking about someone who's gone from competing in Olympic-sized swimming pools to being accused of vandalizing the reflecting pool along the mall. And, of course, he ends up in cuffs. And apparently he's not the only one. We're speaking of a former Olympian canoeist, 67-year-old David Hearn, three-time Olympian, by the way, said he was cycling by the monument on Friday. He noticed a piece of the pool's underliner floating in the water, but authorities, they didn't buy his story at all. And now they're accusing him of being one of several individuals of trying to sabotage the project, with a pair of arrests being made so far. In fact, the president said as much in a post on Truth Social, announcing, quote, many additional people have been arrested having to do with the disgraceful vandalism of our beautiful reflecting pool. What these terrible vandals have done is a true affront to both Presidents George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, and should be dealt with accordingly. They also poured corrosive and destructive chemicals into the pool. Finally, he adds this: we are very proud of what we have done with this magnificent structure, and we'll get it repaired quickly to an equal level of beauty.
So that is crazy, guys. Like these people hate beauty. They hate the fact that America is back. They hate the fact that there's a president who cares enough about how America is perceived. These people want the world to laugh at America. They want America to look like those shithole countries, okay? That look, I come from one of those countries, okay? I come from one of those countries. They want America to essentially become the third world. That's insane. That is sad. Look, if they love those shithole countries so much, they should move there. And while they're at it, they should gift reasonable people who want to move to the United States and help America stay great, okay? I've said it many times that America is like a lifeboat, okay? America is like a lifeboat for the rest of the world, where people who want freedom, who want to build something, who want to raise their kids and give them an opportunity, that's where they can go. But these people want to rip the lifeboat apart, and it is sad and disgusting. All right. Now, there are many reports of these people being arrested over and over again. And I think, guys, it's a coordinated attack. It's a coordinated attack on these projects that President Trump is running. Okay. Now, I watched a news conference, a press conference that President Trump held today, I think it was. And one of the reporters said, well, we went to the reflecting pool and we didn't see the rip. Well, we have a video here that shows the rip. Okay, so here's a video. An underwater camera goes in there and it shows the rip. Look, the mainstream media is begging to be hated. So here's the rip. Does that look like a rip that came due to wear and tear or inferior material? That thing was cut. Okay? And the mainstream media said, oh, we couldn't find it. A private journalist did this. So I don't trust the mainstream media. I don't trust them. They lie. They will do everything to make President Trump look bad. And you know what? President Trump just released, of course, he said earlier, I think this was yesterday or today, he says, essentially, anyone who is convicted of vandalizing federal property is going to prison for 10 years. Let's have a listen.
People, including a former U.S. Olympian, have now been arrested for allegedly vandalizing the newly renovated reflecting pool in the nation's capital.
Kevin Cork joins us now from the White House with all the latest on this.
All right, I'm sorry. All right, we've covered this already. So President Trump has essentially said that there will be a 10-year prison sentence for the destruction of federal property. And you know what? I'm all for it. I'm totally all for it. Okay, anyone who destroys federal property, and guys, remember, it's your taxpayer money. It's your taxpayer money. Anyone who destroys it has to essentially pay the price for it. All right. Now, let's go to the chat before we skip over to Zoran Mamdani. Okay, we've spent a while going through the Algae Gate. Okay, remember, it's my show. It's Algae to me, but Algae to you. So Algae Gate. Okay, so and guys, it's always fun to see you guys hanging out in the chat. All right, so I'm gonna find someday. I'm gonna have to hire someone who's gonna be part of the production team to help out with sorting through the chat, but we're gonna have to do it. I'm going to have to do it myself today, okay, until the channel grows enough. Okay, let's go. Tony, of course, he gave the membership and said, happy post Father's Day. Do you know what? He deserves another applause. Happy post Father's Day. And then he says, let's be gay. All right. Guys, we're being facetious, okay? But do you know what? When I grew up, gay actually meant to be happy, to be joyful. And the left has been destroying the English language for a long time. All right? At the expense of turning people off, the word for gay, for people who live that lifestyle, is a different word. It starts with an S. So they took a word that meant to be happy, and then they made it into a word that they essentially twisted the word, the meaning of the word. And that's what the left does. They twist the meaning of words. Let's see. And then Gardening says, hello all. Hope you had a great day today. Thanks for joining in tonight. Please take the time to hit the like button and subscribe so you can join us again. So I hope you'll consider doing that. Yeah, so let's see. Intergalactic Wrangler says, calcium hypochlorite 70% strength will kill the algae overnight. All right. And then he says, pool shocker. Guys, I like to read your chat out loud. So if you want to be part of the conversation, please post in the chat. We want to hear your thoughts. JM21999 says, glad to be here. And thank you for the shout out, and says, I will be a regular. Well, thank you, JM21999. Thank you so much. Hope to see you. Look, we want you guys to be regular. We want you to hang out with us. And most of all, we want you to engage in the community. We want to hear your thoughts on these stories. Okay. And then Gardening says, if you are new, you may notice comments that do not appear in the chat. That is because we have the main page, Crossroads IRL. That's the main account, has over 12,000 subscribers. And then another channel, Crossroads Live, which has 1,600 subscribers. So feel free to subscribe to both. Thank you so much, Gardening. All right. And then JM21999 says, thank you. And I just subscribed to the other. Look, thank you so much for subscribing. All right. Thank you so much for subscribing. Look, we're trying to build something, and these days it's really difficult for conservative channels to grow a following. It's like we're swimming against the current. And whenever we find ourselves, it's very important that we figure out a way to stay connected. So thank you so much, JM, for subscribing to the main channel or the backup channel. I'm not sure where you're chatting from, but thank you so much for being on the channels. Thank you so much. Now we're going to be moving over to Zoran Mamdani. Zoran Mamdani says, and we're going to play his pearls of wisdom here. Okay, we're going to play his pearls of wisdom. No, not that. Not that. Let's play his pearls of wisdom. Zoran Mamdani, the mayor of New York, says ICE should be abolished.
As their mayor, I firmly believe that ICE should be abolished, that we should have an answer to the question of immigration with humanity at the heart of it, and that I will not sit here alongside you and proclaim that the only way to respond to it is an agency that I'm older than.
Okay, so he claims that ICE is an agency he's older than. Granted, maybe. But the laws that ICE operates under were written into the books during the Clinton administration, signed and voted on by Democrats. In fact, it was so pushed by the Democrats that Obama himself, pushed for deporting illegal aliens. He did it. And there are videos of him defending the activities of ICE. No one called him Hitler. No one called him a racist. No one called him all the names that Trump is being called today. They celebrated him. Yes, he was their Black Jesus. And guess what happened as soon as Trump came in and said, I'm going to do exactly what President Obama had been doing throughout his presidency. Oh, you're racist. You can't take these people seriously. You can't take them seriously. So he wants ICE to be abolished. Now, this is the same guy who has been horrible to the NYPD. Horrible. Whenever the NYPD has been attacked by random mobs, whenever they've been essentially in horrible situations where people that they're trying to arrest get shot or hurt or injured, okay, he attacks law enforcement instead of defending them and protecting them because they are enforcing the law. That is this guy. And I think somewhere he claims that the NYPD can enforce immigration law. Well, if they were enforcing immigration law so well, how come you have random streets filled with illegal aliens selling or trading on sheets in the middle of the street? They've essentially taken over some parts of New York, some streets in New York where they sell stuff on the street. How come the NYPD isn't doing anything about those? It took Nick Shirley exposing some of those locations before ICE came and cleared up those locations. The NYPD is not doing anything about immigration enforcement. Why? Because it's not their job. Now, while he's crashing out about ICE, Zoran Mamdani is doing something else that I feel is possibly even more dangerous. All right. What he's doing right now is even more dangerous. Oops. Let me refresh. I'm going to try finding this again. Now, if this page doesn't load, it means that it was okay. Now here's the thing about social media, okay? You find these videos and suddenly you go back and they've been scrubbed. But I have the text of what this video says, so I'm just going to tell you what the video says. I'm going to close these. Now, Zoran Mamdani has endorsed Daria Liza Avila Chevalier over the current chair of the Hispanic Caucus for Congress. Essentially, this person that he is endorsing, I'm going to do a search. I think I did it. I'm going to copy the name and I'm going to do a search. I want to show you who this person is, okay? This person that Zoran Mamdani has decided he would rather endorse. All right? There's a video somewhere. This is the lady that he has decided to
The United States of America, we feel the Palestinian blood. We feel the Palestinian blood. And we stand in solidarity with Palestine. We have the historic responsibility. We have the historic responsibility of defeating Israel colonialism. Israel colonialism.
So he's endorsing her for Congress. So this is the play, guys. This Islamist, Marxist, communist wins the race for mayor of New York, and then he is the springboard for other extremists to get into Congress. AOC is not enough. They want to pack them full of extremists like this woman. So there she is, shortly after October 7th, while the Jews were still being slaughtered, assaulted in caves and hunted across southern Israel, she attended the All Out for Palestine rally in New York City. That is who Zoran Mamdani is backing. So while we're screaming about the fact that this person wants to this person wants to, I laughed because Intergalactic Wrangler is taking a beer. And you know what? Pull up a drink. Okay, pull up a drink, make yourself comfortable. Okay, enjoy the show. And let us know what you're drinking or what you're having for dinner, okay? Let's know what you're having for dinner. And speaking of which, okay, guys, before we move forward, we're having a members-only live stream tomorrow. We do our members-only live streams on Tuesdays at noon Eastern. So please consider joining us for the live stream. Let's have a conversation. I said yesterday that we're going to have a conversation about the future of the channel. And I want to discuss with the members of the channel. There are a few things that I want to brainstorm with you guys. I would love to have you on the chat, okay? I would love to have you in the chat to kind of tell me, I'll discuss a few ideas with me. So just wanted to put that out there. So this is the person that Zoran has endorsed, an extremist person who hates Israel, who hates Christianity, okay? The very foundation of American culture and Western civilization. That is who they're not sneaking in, but they're trying to vote into Congress. Now, you're going to see this person, of course, not raving and screaming and frothing at the mouth. Okay, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see someone who is nice and polite and ill, you know, very very well put together. They aren't going to be frothing at the mouth. They're going to be well spoken. They're going to be well schooled. Okay. And is that her? Is that the same person? Yeah. So let's listen to her debate foreign policy.
Yes. So I was in Nablus for over almost 2 months, and I visited many cities in the region, both in the West Bank and in Israel. And what I found in my time there was a system of apartheid. Mm-hmm. And I saw so many connections between what was happening to Palestinians there in Palestine and what was happening to so many communities across the U.S., particularly Black and Latino communities, who have been priced out and pushed out of our homes. When we talk about displacement in the West Bank or in Gaza, it is a very similar, visually similar situation.
So when you hear arguments like this about people being priced out and pushed out, that's a Marxist communist argument. It's a Marxist communist argument it's class war. All right. So what the danger of the Democratic Socialist Party, which is basically, look, the Democrat Party you grew up with is dead. So what you have right now is the Islamist Democratic Socialist Party of America. That's what you have right now. And they push these ideas because they have to push class war. They have to push a race war, and they have to push a religious war. And you're seeing it on full display, guys. So that's the person that Zoran Mamdani is supporting. Okay. Now, let's pivot over to Chicago, to Illinois. While in New York, you have Zoran Mamdani saying, look, we don't need ICE. We need to abolish ICE. Now, over the Father's Day weekend, there was a horrific spate or round of attacks. Okay, there were shootings, there were murders, so many things, horrible things happened over the weekend. And one of the things that popped off was that ICE just arrested an Illinois teacher in a Trende Aragua multiple murder case mass shooting. Like, look, you can't make this up. Let's have a listen.
Helped 2 alleged members of the violent Trende Aragua gang acting as a getaway driver after a deadly house party shooting that left 3 people dead.
The 2 alleged gunmen have since been deported, but critics say Chicago's sanctuary policies allowed this suspect to slip through the cracks after local authorities released her from jail without notifying ICE. Border czar Tom Homan joins us in moments on this.
But first, senior correspondent Mike Tobin is reporting live out of Chicago. He's got the exclusive for us. Mike.
And Sandra, Immigration and Customs Enforcement now has in custody this former Illinois high school teacher who they say assisted a Tren de Aragua mass shooting, and it gets more complicated from there. Giovanna Mercedes Moreno Ochapinte, 32 years old, first entered the U.S. in October of 2021 with the visa waiver program, but she was supposed to leave January 2nd, 2022, and she overstayed her visa. Skip forward to December 2nd, 2024, when the Department of Homeland Security says she drove two gunmen affiliated with the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua to a house party in the Gage Park area of Chicago, where they allegedly opened fire. 3 people were killed, several others injured. Federal authorities say Moreno Ochapinte also helped the gunmen flee the scene. Ochapinte, I should say. The 2 men she allegedly drove to the scene also helped the gunmen flee the scene. Ochapinte, I should say. The 2 men she allegedly drove to the scene and helped escape, Ricardo Grandillo Padilla and Edward Martinez Sermeno, have both been arrested and deported. Chicago police arrested this former teacher December 5th, 2025. Federal authorities say she had weapons in her car at the time.
So this is someone that the Democrats allowed to stay in the country. They need people like this in the country, because what happens is it's a communist playbook. They sow chaos into the society. They release violent criminals into the society, and then they show up and say, "Oh, look, the city is burning. Oh, horrible things are happening. We're here to help." That's what they do. They did it in Russia, okay, when the USSR was the Soviet Union was in at its infancy. They were the ones who stepped in, sowed chaos, and then forced the Tsar and his family to abdicate. And then they weren't just satisfied with the Tsar and his family abdicating. They murdered the entire family in a basement. So these are the kind of people you're dealing with. These are the people you're dealing with. She was complicit in the murder of 3 people. And somehow, the city of Chicago refused to honor an ICE detainer on this woman. Like, that's what the Democrat Party does. They back criminals. They back sexual deviants. They back illegal aliens. That's the party that they've become. Now, let's take a look. Let's catch up with, sorry, hold on. I just want to be sure. Yeah, so let's catch up with Ilhan Omar. So Ilhan Omar, I guess everyone is following the news. And you know what? It's old news. But we haven't talked about Ilhan Omar in over 6 months. So she's making a comeback. Why? Because her financial scandal has exploded even more. Her husband's $30 million net worth clerical error has essentially become a huge issue. All right? Omar's husband, Tim Minette, listed $30 million net worth in 2024. Now they claim it was a mistake. Her assets, look, do you remember the legal battles of President Trump in New York in 2022 and 2023 with Letitia James and her gang, who tried to put Trump away for the rest of his life over a deal where they claim that his estimates on his properties was fraudulent, and that he aimed to deceive the bank, and that there was harm done, and they wanted to prosecute him over that issue, and they wanted to take away his money. Do you remember that case? So a Democrat can step up and say, "Oh, well, it was a clerical error," and they don't get dragged through the courts like Trump was dragged through the courts. So she gets to claim it was a clerical. Oh, I'm ranting. So let's play the video. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. Let's play the video, okay? Because the video sounds a lot better than I do, doesn't it?
Surrounding her reported wealth, and this has all been chronicled in the New York Post. Omar's husband, Tim Minette, once listed his net worth to be up to $30 million in 2024, and that caused a push for an investigation into the business holdings of the couple, but that ended up being a cleerical mistake, according to the Congresswoman. Instead, a new filing has listed her assets between $20,000 and $125,000. Big difference. Minette's net worth is the most staggering part of this, though, with a reported income between $200 and $1,000. And despite that low income, Minette's company, Rose Lake Capital, reported income between $100,000 to $1 million. His defunct wine-based company reported around $5,000 in income of last year. The latest filing will no doubt add further scrutiny to Omar, with Republicans continuing to push for an investigation into her private holdings. An RNC spokesman told the New York Post this: voters see right through the corrupt lies of Ilhan Omar. Omar has spent her entire career covering up Democrat-enabled fraud that cost taxpayers billions, so it's no surprise that she would do the same for her husband. Omar's income controversy has only drawn further scrutiny, though, into all those fraud allegations across her home state of Minnesota. Carly.
All right. Doug Lazater, live for us in Washington. Doug, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right. She's got one terrible accountant. Right. I mean,
it's got to be that.
Rally.
Look, only Republicans will, be gracious and blame the accountant. The Democrats spent years going after Trump. They claimed that it was Trump who put together the fraudulent documents. It was Trump who went out and assessed his buildings and his property. And it was Trump who put the figures into the documents and handed it off to the bank. When Democrats talk, it shows they don't know how business works. They don't know how billionaires operate. They don't. They think that they just sit down in a dark corner with their grubby hands and then they steal money from people. That's the picture, that's the caricature that leftists operate with. They don't have the bandwidth to understand how businesses operate. Trump has teams of lawyers to handle these things. But no, as far as they're concerned, it was Trump who did it. But we know how these things work. And so a Republican can say, well, her accountant is horrible. But Democrats won't say that. They'll say, well, it was Trump that did it.
How do you really make $200 when you know you have your congressional salary? So,
basic question that you're asking, Brian.
And who did he invest in box wine? Is that why he?
My goodness.
Right, it's all corruption. That's the bottom line. And she's been corrupt for a long time.
There has to be a legitimate investigation. 100%. It drives people crazy
100%.
when she's allowed to
But it should be.
Yeah, there has to be an investigation. Now, let's see. Let's go to the chat. Let's talk about Intergalactic's drink of preference. And then Intergalactic Wrangler says, Chicago used to be a good city. I don't know about that, Intergalactic. It depends on who you talk to, but I've looked at some of the history of Chicago. I mean, Al Capone, the bootlegging that took place through the years, I don't know, but essentially, there's always been crime, okay? But has it been this bad? Has it always been this bad? I hear that Chicago has always been a blue city and crime has always been an issue with Chicago. Well, on the Ilhan Omar story, Intergalactic Wrangler says she's been investigated by the DOJ for the money and her brother. Well, they claim that it is Trump weaponizing the justice system against them. Well, Trump had the justice system weaponized against him, and he came out smelling like a rose. Of course, they had a corrupt jury that the judge told, well, find something that he can be guilty of. And then they pinned 36 counts of checks that like it's crazy when you break down those counts, but that's not what we're here to do. But then again, Ilhan Omar, of course, corrupt. But let's see where this goes eventually. Now we're going to be hopping across the pond. So earlier today, there was a report that Keir Starmer, the former Prime Minister of the UK, had resigned. Watch Brits erupt as Starmer announces his resignation, cheering, jumping, and celebrating like they won the lottery. They couldn't wait to see the back of him. Like, it's... Now, there's a portion of scripture in the book of Proverbs that came to mind. When the righteous prosper, the city rejoices. When the wicked perish, there are shouts of joy. One other translation says that when the righteous are in authority, the city rejoices. But are there people in the UK who are sad that Keir Starmer resigned? There might be. Just like in the United States, there are people who hate Trump so much that his attempts to make them safe, to beautify the country, to make the country strong and respected are met with bile and hatred. So there are people just like that. Now, of course, there's this, video. I'm going to play this video because if you don't know who Keir Starmer is, all right, so this is a politician, a rep in the UK, Zia Yusuf, okay, of course, an immigrant, but he's British. And here's what he had to say about Keir Starmer, because there's going to be reports from the BBC and left-wing media, oh, he was such a nice guy, he was cuddly, he was nice, he's not like Trump. Trump is rude, Trump is unseemly, Trump is the worst thing to have ever happened to world politics, because they hate him. But they'll say that Keir Starmer was a gentleman, he was soft-spoken, he's nice. Oh, he's a statesman, he's stately, he's polite, he speaks softly, okay? But he's here to essentially tell you, look, don't be fooled. Yeah, so this is a campaign video for Reform UK. It's a new Conservative Party, okay? And what's going on in the UK, just as we land this plane, what's going on in the UK is so monumental because it kind of shows what happens in societies where the government stops defending the rights of the citizens. They attack the citizens and they try to replace the citizens with a docile immigrant class who will vote for whatever they do. And I guarantee you, most people who don't understand most immigrants don't know what's going on. Most immigrants, I'm sorry, now I think I am one of the, part of the exception to this story, because most immigrants are too busy trying to survive. Most immigrants fled their countries, coming to the West, trying to survive. And I'm talking about the conservative ones, the ones with common sense. The extremists or the criminals who flee to the West come in to take advantage of the West. And there are many of them. So most of them are useful idiots. The ones that come to be criminals in the West, and those who come in and they're just trying to survive, they're all useful idiots because they don't know what's going on. The few of us who do know what's going on and speak up about what was going on don't have the same rights as citizens to do something about what's going on. But a few of us speak up. We speak up and we try to wake up the citizens within these communities to say, look, if you don't wake up, your countries are going to wind up looking like ours, because we see some of the things that we saw happening in our countries happening in yours right now. So it's crazy to watch what's going on, and many people are rising up to say no, we're done with mass migration and so on. And the risk is that it could easily swing over to the extreme where people say, look, if you look like an immigrant, we want to kick you out, because of what the leftists have done. Not because the people are prejudiced or racist. It's just that they've been pushed so far that they go to the other extreme in order to push back. And that's what a lot of us are trying to avoid. We're trying to say, look, before we get to that extreme where actions have to be so extreme that it becomes an all-out, it looks like it's prejudiced, it looks like it's racist. People see you as an immigrant and they're like, okay, you have to leave because we're tired of all of the pain and suffering that immigrants who look like you have caused. Not that you did, but they just say, look, we just want to start fresh. And then the left will get up and say, oh, look, we said it. They're prejudiced, they're racist, they're white supremacists. They only want the continent to be white. But they caused it. They caused the issues that triggered that extreme reaction. Now, I want to end this live stream with a video by someone most of us here know and respect, Tom Sowell. And I saw this video and I felt, okay, I think we should end the live stream with this video, okay? Tom Sowell, let's play this and tell me what you think in the chat, and then I'll read the rest of the chat. If you haven't posted your thoughts in the chat, please post your thoughts in the chat. I would like to hear from you on this.
How do you characterize the liberal philosophy today from the conservative philosophy?
Well, that's a tough one. I guess the main thing about the liberals, again, is that they think a program will do it. If there's something that they don't like in the society, you have set up a program and that will solve the problem. I think one of the things one of the words they use a lot is solutions. And I argue here and elsewhere that there are no solutions. There are just trade-offs. So, for example, when Ralph Nader launched his attack against the Corvair many years ago, he said it's an unsafe car and it has these safety problems and those safety problems. And in some respects, he was correct, not all. But the fact is, there were other things that a Corvair would do that made it safer than other cars. And on net balance, it was as safe as the rest of them.
Are you saying there are no solutions to our problems as Americans?
There are no solutions to anybody's problems. There are trade-offs. Safety is a classic example. Every year, so many hundreds of thousands of people are vaccinated against measles, smallpox, those kinds of things. Now, this saves several hundred lives, it's estimated. It also causes brain damage to about 30 kids a year. Now, there are no solutions in that. They're just trade-offs.
What about crime? Take crime as an issue. Can we solve the crime issue or fundamentally solve it so it's reduced?
I'm sorry, I have to say this, okay? RFK has been talking about the impact of vaccines on kids. The Senate and Congress, at least the Democrats in the Senate and Congress, attacked him relentlessly, saying that he was a quack, saying that he was bringing on quacks like Dr. Oz, and essentially tried to discredit them because they dared to say that vaccines have injured kids because the kids are over-vaccinated. And here's Tom Sowell saying probably the same thing. This was shot in the 90s, somewhere around 1995. It's these things have been said for years. They've remained true for years. But Democrats try to attack anyone who says these things that people have always known.
Well, then that's a trade-off. You don't solve it. There will always be crime. There always has been. But you want to keep it down to some level. It's not this astronomical thing we have today. For example, the liberals right now are saying, crime has eased off in New York, and that's true. There were 6 times as much crime in New York a few years ago as there was in 1960. Now it's down to 5 times as much crime as there was in 1960. Now that's not what I regard as a great trend, unless it continues a lot more strongly.
Liberals
Tom Sowell. Okay, most of us love him, most of us respect him, and most of us hope he'll live longer. He's in his 90s right now. I think he's about 93 or 96. He turned 90 in, was it in 22 or 23? So he's about 93 years old or 94 years old now. So we hope he lives longer, but I don't know. But we hope he lives long enough for us to enjoy more of his wisdom. Okay, let us see more. Okay. Okay, Intergalactic Wrangler, I think you said Ilhan Omar is cooked. And then Intergalactic Wrangler says he's a weasel, talking about Keir Starmer. I very much disliked him. And then Intergalactic Wrangler continues and says, I laughed for 30 minutes when he resigned. And then Gardening says of Tom Sowell, I do love him. Look, we need to celebrate. We need to celebrate people like Tom Sowell. The people out there who claim that black people, like people in the social justice or civil rights movement, hate Tom Sowell. They hate him because he exposes their grift. They hate him because he is not the stereotypical angry black man who screams racism at every turn. He calls them out on their hypocrisy and on their lies, and they hate him. And that's what they do with anyone who calls them out. So as long as he's alive, he stands as evidence that they're grift, that they're grifting and that they're liars. So we hope he lives longer, but I also hope that there are other black Americans out there who rise up and who speak common sense. He's eloquent, he's educated, because when you have black influencers like Brandon Tatum, of the Officer Tatum YouTube channel, or you have other black conservative influencers out there who are speaking up, many times the leftists rise up to say, well, you're not a professor. Well, you're not educated. Well, you didn't go to college, so whatever you're saying doesn't count. They hate it when someone who is as educated as Tom Sowell rises up to oppose their nonsense. And I hope that there are more educated black people who rise up. But you know what? The left-wing media will not give them a platform. The left-wing media will continue to hide these people. The first time I saw Tom Sowell's video on YouTube, I asked myself the question, where has he been all my life? I had never heard of Tom Sowell until I think February of 2021. And I had been on the internet for almost 20 years at that point. And I had never heard of Tom Sowell. So people like him are being hidden from the world so that the lie that black people are disenfranchised, that black people are bitter, that black people are this or the other can be pushed. So we respect Tom Sowell and we hope that more people like him rise up. Guys, we are at the end of tonight's show. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. If you haven't already, please, if you like what you heard and you stayed till this point, please consider liking the video. And if you're feeling generous, please subscribe and hit the bell icon on the channel. Thank you so much. Tony, once again, Tony. All right, Tony, thank you for gifting subscriptions, gifting memberships to the viewers. And those of you who received those memberships, please be a part of the members only live stream we have tomorrow. Okay, yes, you received a gift from Tony, but we would love for you to be a part of the conversation. During the members only live stream, you get to ask me real questions, okay? It's not all about the news and pointing at leftists and laughing. During the members-only live streams, you get to meet me. You get to hear some of the things I have on my heart for the show. You get to find out who I am and figure out if I am a grifter or if I am for real. Okay, so that's where I essentially just relax and talk with you guys. During the shows, there's an agenda, there are stories to cover, and while I'm talking, I'm trying very hard to coordinate, and it's hard to do that with a young channel, with an audience that's still trying to figure out if they want to stay. And, you know, it's hard to just coordinate that. But with the members only live streams, I get to relax and I get to talk with you guys. It's for about an hour. We'll try to keep it within an hour. We'll talk about a few things and I would love to hear from you. So please consider being a part of it. And we have our Discord server. Our Discord server is linked in the description. You can join the Discord server in the description of this video on both channels. You can click and be a part of the Discord server. We're going to be talking about a few things we're going to be introducing to the Discord server as well. Tomorrow, we're going to get ideas from you. The Discord server is your server. So we would like to hear your thoughts on ideas on what we can do on the server. So guys, I'm looking forward to hanging out with you tomorrow. And we're going to be doing 2 shows tomorrow, the members only at noon Eastern, and we're also going to be having the main event at 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So tomorrow is a double event, so please consider joining us for both. Hope you'll come back tomorrow. I hope everyone is here. Now I'm going to do a roll call like I always do. Gardening, as always, thank you so much for holding down the chat, and same to you as well, Intergalactic Wrangler. Thank you. You guys are amazing, showing up every single day. Tony, again, for giving a happy Father's Day gifted memberships. Thank you so much. JM21999, first time chatter and double subscriber to both of our channels. And I'm not going to leave out the lurkers. Who is a lurker? A lurker is someone who just watches and doesn't say anything. Okay. Now I see the names of everyone who got the gifted membership, but I'm not going to call you guys out because I don't know if you want to be called out and you didn't leave a message or anything. So I'm going to respect your privacy. But thank you anyway for clicking that button and joining the live stream long enough to get a gifted membership. So guys, thank you all so much for being a part of the live stream. I'll be praying for you guys. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Good night. And Gardening says, good night all. Be sure to join us again tomorrow. And Intergalactic Wrangler signs off and says, stay safe, everyone. All right, guys. Good night, and I'll see you on the next one.